So John Green posted a video today on the Vlogbrothers channel called My Body is a Broken Temple. And this is obviously in reference to the New Testament passage where Paul commands Christians to treat their bodies as a temple. And John Green is being a little facetious and also being a little faithful. He is a Christian, but he goes on to talk about how he broke his rib celebrating his 39th birthday too intensely. But then he segues into talking about how he has treated his body over his life and how he did a poor job of it because he thought of his mind as the sum of who he is and his body as an animalistic thing that he had to sustain in order to keep thinking thoughts. And as he got older and started viewing his body as part of the sacred, valuable thing that his mind was, all the self, then not only did he get healthier, but he got better at the stuff, like writing, that he assumed was of the mind only. And I was reading comments on this video and reading how people thought about their bodies, and I started group chat thinking about how I see my body. And there were plenty of people who talked about seeing their bodies as temples, broken or not. And there was one person who had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 3 who was like, I hate my body, but it did some cool stuff. And they hate their body because it constantly makes them in pain. And so I wanted to talk about how I see my body and why that has helped me. There are plenty of 18-year-olds who are far sicker than I am. But there are also plenty of 18-year-olds who are far healthier than I am. Plenty. And even if a handful of 18-year-olds are more immediately sick than I am, most of the time that's a temporary thing. Like I said, there are some that are far more sick than I am, but most aren't. Even most 18-year-olds with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome are not quite as sick as I am, if that's all they have. In fact, not just quite, they're not nearly as sick as I am if that's all they have. Most of the time. But so, when I got diagnosed, or when I first really started having problems over a year and a half ago, like a year and 8 months ago now, I viewed my body as some sort of mortal enemy. And it was making me sick, and it was keeping me in pain, and there was something wrong, and I hated it. And I related a lot to the sentiment described in The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, where Hazel's like, she talks about dragging around this wretched, worthless thing, being poked and prodded. But then I read, like, 2 words further, and she talks about how it finally felt worth it, and how she finally liked her body when she kissed Augustus Waters. Spoiler warning, they kiss in the Anne Frank house. I don't know how you couldn't have known that. There was a big controversy over that. It's a book. It's a book. And I think John was right to put it in there. Anyway. Fight me. So, then I was like, is it just because she kissed Augustus Waters, or is this really just about appreciating things with your body? And so I started really appreciating what I could sense. I really appreciated everything I saw, everything I heard, everything I smelled, tasted, and touched. Especially touch. Because the wonder of sensation is that when I am not feeling pain, there are so many other indescribable things that are worthy of being talked about just as much as pain, but I give them no heed, because I don't pay attention to them. Also, I'm poking at dead skin. I'm really sorry if that's distracting. I'm almost done. There we go. No, I'll finish that later. No, I won't. So then I tried reconciling this hatred of my body with this like for its capability to sense things. And in this time, I'm also dealing with potential dysphoria of being trans. And I'm like, how do I love my body as a trans person? I'm not supposed to be able to do that. And then I was like, what if I continue to view my body as a separate entity from my mind? But instead of being an enemy, or a hindrance, or just someone or something to take advantage of when they do what I want. What if I thought of my body as a friend, an ally, someone who's trying just as hard as my mind is, and who's just as frustrated as I am with its lack of capabilities, and who wants to do better for me, and who is dedicated to trying to keep me alive, and is struggling a little bit more than other people, but is doing a pretty great job. And so I started thinking like that. And I thought the same way in regards to being trans. I'm like, what if I think of my body as an entity who didn't really ask to look like this, looks like this, is doing its best to keep me alive and as healthy as possible, and can't really control what it looks like because my body consciously can't do that. And so for the sake of metaphor, I chose to assume that that was a trait it still didn't possess. And so then I slowly became best friends with my body, which is a really weird sentiment, I think, to express. It feels weird to say, but it's true. I became best friends with my body. I started thanking it a lot, and I started appreciating it, and I complained to it instead of about it to myself, which is an interesting twist. I'd start talking to my body and being like, okay, lungs, cough up your shit. Okay, legs, just a little bit farther. And I found that when I spoke to my body with kindness, I was happier. Like, the physical realities of what was happening in my life that made me want to express frustration didn't change. But I dealt with them better when I started talking kindly to my body. And I'm still sick. I still have issues. And the more I think about it, the more I'm pretty sure, as a trans person, I want some sort of dysphoria alleviating surgery. At least a hysterectomy. Maybe we'll talk about other stuff. I don't know. And by becoming an ally with my body, by becoming friends with my body, I'm not betraying it. I won't be betraying it by one day, like, having elective surgery. They're not really cosmetic because, dysphoria, whatever, that's complicated. By having elective surgery, that wouldn't be a betrayal. It would be a collaboration, an attempt to keep me alive in an even better way than what my body's capable of doing now. And it would be a better way because I'd be in a mentally better place. And I find that so many people don't understand the difference between hating your body and wanting to change your body. Like, the two are different. Very different. And so I'm an advocate. A lot of people talk about, oh, trans people hate their bodies. No, I'm an advocate for body love, regardless of whether you want your body to always look as it does now or to change in any way. And I think that perspective comes from being friends with your body. And friends don't always agree. Sometimes friends fight. Friends see differently from each other. Ultimately, your mind's the authority, and your body kind of has to succumb to your will at cognitive ideas, but your body is gonna tell you what's gonna happen. And what's not gonna. So it's a collaboration. And life, like most things, is best lived in collaboration instead of conflict. If my AP Lit summer homework taught me anything, that's what it taught me. Life is better lived in collaboration and compromise than conflict. Love your body, even if you don't like it. You don't have to be besties with your body, but try to be friends. I hope you have a great day. I say that. I genuinely do mean that. I hope you know. I genuinely hope you have a great day.